Hi, everybody. This is Love Him, Love Them with Linda Gunner, where we give hope, touch lives, and change hearts. Hey, everybody. It's so great to have you back. Listen, if you don't know, our brand new, it's time to get married. Everybody's getting married, and David and I have a brand new book out called Not Tied Right, based on Ecclesiastes 4:12, right? A 3-braided cord strand is not easily broken. And we've been doing premarital counseling and marriage counseling trust me, it's much more fun to do premarital counseling. I'm just saying. I don't know, lots and lots of years. And I just want to say that when you're spending $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, even if you're spending $2,000 on a wedding, it is very well worth your while to take a couple weeks and figure out what it is that you're doing before you get married. And that's what this book is all about. 7 weeks of how to tie the ultimate love knot. Oh, that's so sweet. And that book should be out now. I think you'll see it on Amazon, or if not, you can always find it on our website. Today, we're going to talk to somebody who tied the knot right. And you're going to see how well she tied the knot as soon as you see her. Also, if you don't care about people that are getting married, and you're like, whatever, I'm not doing that, because that is a really good gift. We do still have the latest book on the website of how to get what you really want. Everybody wants to get what they really want. And that book will change. I've gotten more emails, phone calls, and texts from people who have read that book and are just messed up and are crying and in a hot mess that call me and say, I never looked at it that way. So also a great, great gift. But anyways, without any further ado, I want to introduce to you Ashley Strickland Smith, just to be funny and make him mad, to be able to, who is a superstar in her own right. I can't even believe we got her. And when you see her, you'll probably be like, oh, that's how they got her. So yeah, help me welcome to the studio, Ashley Smith. So Ashley, what you rubbing?
My baby. This is Ariana Morgan.
It literally looks like a basketball. You're like one of those adorable women that just looks like they shoved a basketball in and they're not really pregnant, but you really are pregnant.
Very. I think about as pregnant as I can be. I'm actually 9 months pregnant, like as of last week.
If we already had one water line main break, we don't want any more water breaking in the house today. So we're going to leave that alone. What are you calling the baby?
Ariana Morgan.
Which is not a normal name.
Well, Ariana, we just really liked. It was pretty. And Morgan is my husband's middle name and his mother's maiden name. So
that's cute to have a reason.
Sweet, yeah.
Your other child, do you have?
Yeah, so she's Everly Catherine, and the middle name is after my grandmother and my great-grandmother. So
Everly? Uh-huh. I don't think I've ever heard that.
Yeah.
Everly.
It's coming up on the charts there.
Really? Mm-hmm. And how old is she?
She's 21 months. So I'm going to have 2 under 2, I think, for 2 months if I'm doing the math.
Yeah,
right.
we'll never. So it's a good thing we got you in here, because you're going to be speaking to nobody.
It'll be a minute.
Yeah, for about a long time. Okay, so I wanted to have you in because, number one, I'm thinking, is this right that the first time we met was at the day spa?
I think
the
so.
tan salon? And then you sang at the Happy Birthday Jesus party.
Yeah, it was a Christmas thing. I'll never forget that, because that was one of my first little gigs, and I forgot the words.
So probably I'm responsible for your stardom.
No. Yeah, you are. But then I remember I got in trouble on the way home because I forgot the words and I had written them on my hand.
Your mama's so mean.
Oh, no.
Her and her sister.
She's wonderful, but she did make sure that the next time I came, I knew the words.
Knew the words.
She's like, you better make them up.
Your mom's a twin.
Yes.
And they are. Your whole family looks like somebody sprinkled beautiful dust in the.
Sweet.
No, I mean, it's the truth. Like if you see y'all's family pictures, it's like, they're like so pretty, all of them, and they're nice too. I mean, most of them. Your mom cracks me up. But anyways, we'll leave that alone. She was one of my main customers at the day spa. I do love her so much, but sometimes I got her confused with her sister, and that
that happens a lot.
Yeah, they didn't.
Even when I was little, I couldn't tell them apart. Like they would mess with me and be like, which one's mama? And I'm like, I don't know.
I do not doubt that one bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to talk about your stardom, your trip to stardom, and which now I know I started, so I wish I'd known that earlier. I would have taken much more credit for that. And then what really caught my attention was these stories you were talking about being a mom, and the things that, actually, let's start with that. And because that's the most recent. What in the world was going on? Because you just love Jesus so much.
I do.
And it's so fun. I love to find a beautiful person on the outside and on the inside that loves Jesus. Of course, it makes everybody beautiful on the inside. Because I think a lot of times being a Christian gets such a bad rap that it's just a bunch of dorky people that can't do any better. And so because they couldn't find anything else worthwhile, they decided to become a Christian. They tried this. And you're just such a shining example of an amazing mom, a great looking girl, a hot chick, even with a basketball in her belly. It's not a basketball.
So you're going to make me cry.
No, it's the truth.
Thank
and
you.
then you're also so gifted and talented. And then to see you or hear you on social media giving praise and I mean, everything. So what exactly, I don't quite understand everything that you were going through. What was the deal with?
So, well, first of all, I could not give praise because God has showed up even when I didn't ask him to. And that's been my whole life, just about. So I'm very thankful for that. But basically, so with my first pregnancy, we had a lot of small scares. Basically, we would have an ultrasound and they'd think they'd see something. And then we'd go to a specialist and they didn't see anything.
Okay.
She's great, healthy, wonderful baby. Then this one, the night before our 20-week anatomy scan, we were already kind of like preparing ourselves because we had never had a normal ultrasound. We were like, okay, they'll probably see something, but it's probably going to be okay, so we'll be fine.
Okay.
And my husband even told me that. He was like, look, go ahead and prepare yourself. They'll think they see something. So we go in, and I hear the tech, like that's what got my heart going. The tech had a student with her doing the ultrasound, and the student said, and she was like, shh. And I was like,
stop it.
Yeah. And so after that, they're not allowed to say anything, so you can't be like, what is it? What? And we went to...
I bet that little girl got in trouble too, and especially if your mama had been in the room. Like, you ain't supposed to say that.
I know.
Oh my
and
gosh.
So we were a little nervous, but we had already kind of prepared ourselves mentally for whatever. And honestly, in pregnancy, I've already learned, like, you're living on a prayer anyway. Like, they only can see so far and know so much.
Okay.
So we go to the doctor visit after, and the doctor is like, okay, so we did see some, what we think is scar tissue that could hinder the baby's growth a little. And I had a C-section prior, so that would make sense. And she was like, or that is a uterine band. So we're sending you to a high-risk doctor to figure that out. And
okay, well, that's something.
Yeah, so I was like, she more so explained the scar tissue. And so I asked her, I said, well, what about the uterine band? What is that? And she was like, well, I'd rather not talk about it until we find out what it is. And I was like, heart pumping.
Google.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm already thinking, I'm like, okay, I'm not even going to tell my mom when I get home because she's watching my daughter. I was like, I'm going to wait and find out, like, what's going on. Like, because, you want prayers, but you also don't want to speak anything into existence. And so, and all of that is very fragile. I feel like in my later life, I didn't realize that younger, but now I'm like, it's just very important.
My mouth shut.
Yeah. So we were on our way home. We're quiet, even though we've already prepared ourselves, but it's kind of like, okay. And I'm just like, the only thing I can really go off of is my baby's growth. And so I'm like, how can I get this baby to grow like she's supposed to with the scar tissue? But in the midst of that, I asked my husband, I say, let's go to Subway. Because you're not supposed to have.
That's one way to get the baby to grow. Huh?
I know. You're not supposed to have sandwich meat while pregnant.
Oh.
Because it's rare, but you could get listeria and things like that. And like,
so had you not had Subway the whole time, or you been?
No, I haven't had Subway. So I get a BLT, and I'm like double bacon and cook the bacon. Okay. So that's what I wanted. I was like, I'm going to eat and then go home, scoop my baby up, and take a nap, and then I'll get on Google. And so we go in there, and I'm watching them make this sandwich, and I'm nervous, and they obviously don't know what we've been told or anything that's going on at all. Yeah. But they're making like the best looking sandwich I've seen in ages. They're patting the bacon, like the grease off. A lot of Subway people don't do that. And, and then we get to the register. My husband's already got his card out to pay. And the lady behind the counter slides the sandwich. She says, it's on me. Just go feed that baby. And I said,
the Subway lady?
Yeah. And I said, what? No. We can pay. That's okay. Thank you, though. And she was like, no. I get a free sandwich, and I'm not eating mine today. She was like, I just want you to go feed that baby. And Linda, like, when I tell you my mind, like, I could cry already.
Right.
But
It's like, Holy Spirit, you
he
working
came
through
down.
a subway, lady?
He came down. Yeah.
Right.
And heavy. And again, like I didn't ask him to. He was just there. And she had no idea. And so I was like, oh no, I'm about to cry. Like,
did your husband grasp it too? Feed that baby. Go feed that baby.
He knew I was already emotional because I was in tears leaving. And I got in the car and I was like, because you think like all the things going on, this is small. This is small, really. I don't know for sure anything's wrong, but God gave that girl the words that I needed to hang on to until that next appointment. Just go feed that baby. Yeah. That's how you get her to grow. And so I'm literally ugly crying on the way home eating my sandwich because I'm just like, oh, I'm just shocked. And I don't know why, because God has been faithful.
Because when he's so specific and
exactly.
Who knew God could work through a subway, girl? First of all,
I mean, really though, I was not expecting that at all. And so,
I mean, because she could have said anything like, "God, I just want to bless you today," or
anything. Anything probably would have made me cry, but still, it's just
but that was so specific.
Both of our heart, exactly. And so all week, when I did end up telling my mom like what was going on, because she would have to watch my daughter again that Friday, for this high risk doctor, it was just like, I'm not worried about it. I was like, we don't have to worry. Like, God told me, just feed that baby. And man, I fed that baby that week. I probably ate more than I ever had in that week. That's all I did. And we went that Friday to the high risk doctor, and they looked and she measured a week ahead, and there were no uterine bands. He said there's a little scar tissue, but even in future pregnancies, if we wanted more kids, that it would never hinder anything at all. And I was just like, man. And then when you go to those high-risk doctors also, a lot of people don't get that kind of news. So then I was also emotional about that. I felt like I needed to just stop everybody and pray with them and be like, listen, like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
So
let's back up a little bit. So how do you get to, because now let's go back to your previous life, because weren't you like on American Idol or X Factor, or was that me? Or were you, because when did you make Jesus the Lord of your life to the point that you would listen to something a Subway girl said and know it was the Holy Spirit? How did that happen, and how did that factor into your entertaining world? So, I mean, you're so talented.
Thank you.
Do you sing to your babies?
Yes.
Oh, that's so precious.
Oh, yeah. I don't know that so far she doesn't think anything of it. But
what does she know?
She's just like, good job. Like, be quiet.
Give me the microphone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's starting to sing. It's so wonderful.
Everly's starting to sing?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Part of me is like, oh, I know exactly what to do. Let's talk about, oh, no. It's good. I'm like, yes, I hope you do, girl. Because I know where to start. My parents was like, you know how to sing? I don't know what to do with you. What does that mean? Like, that's not taught in school,
Right.
So I received Christ, like, very early. I would say, I think I was 6. My great-grandmother took my cousins to church in Carnesville, and
the big city.
Yeah, and my parents at the time didn't go, so I would be like, I want to go. So I would actually lie to get to church because I would wake my mama up, and she don't play. My mama don't play, but I was like, but she listened to my great grandmother, and so I would say, "Hey, Granny called," but really I called Granny.
Yeah.
And I was like,
she
called and she said I probably should go to church this morning, and Mom would get me up and we would go. And
she would go with you?
No, not at the time.
No, right.
Not at the time. She did, once she realized how much it affected me and how much I loved it. And then it wasn't too long after that she did start going. And I just remember being like, I love Jesus more than anything. That's all I could think. And I remember being in the pew and just thinking, I'm pretty sure this preacher's telling me to get up if I'm wanting this. And I just remember being like, I love my family, but I love Jesus more than anything.
Wow.
That's it. That's all for me. And that was just how pretty much all my life was until when I got in, after high school. I was a little nervous because, like I said, nobody says, oh, you know how to sing? Well, this is what you need to do.
Right. And
so I was very not lost, but living on a prayer for sure. Mm-hmm. And needed guidance. And I did go to American Idol. I went to Hollywood.
Yes.
I ended up getting cut, but I never made TV time, which was okay. Like, that's totally fine. My parents raised me to always just take everything like a grain of salt. And so I never got super discouraged. Like, anytime I didn't make anything, it was like, okay, well, let's go out to eat and let's like chill for a little bit.
Let's go out to eat.
Yeah. It was like no big deal. So I really never got too much down, but after a while it was more so of, okay, God, do you want me to, because I felt like I was getting older and I either needed to have a break in singing or
go be a dental hygienist.
Or be a mama.
Yeah,
you know,
mama, yeah.
Find love. I didn't know. Everybody around me was finding love, and like it just seemed like I didn't know how. And I would go on dates and such, and it was kind of just icky. I didn't love it. I was like, I don't like dating at all. And so then I was just kind of at a crossroads, and I asked God, I was like, do I need a man or a band? Like, what do you want me to do?
There's a book title.
Yeah. So he,
because you did several other things besides American. I mean, you were, I want to say you were at the Grand Ole Opera or somewhere in Nashville. Or
I would go I'd never had to do the Opry. I did do Nashville, a few gigs there. I did a few gigs in South Carolina. I did country music. So it was like, I opened for Merle Haggard and Randy Houser and different names and such.
Did you know I was on the road with the band?
No.
Yeah, James Brown's half brother, Little Royal and the Royal Showman, for 2 years up and down the East Coast.
Did you love it?
Yeah, girl. I got some stories.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I'm hoping your stories are better than mine. But anyways, but it is an interesting life. And you do have to kind of have one or the other. Either the ultimate would be to have the man in the band.
Yeah,
then you can do
that's
both.
true. I wasn't very into musicians, though, after learning them.
Yeah.
No offense to anyone,
No,
but it was just
sorry.
like,
but you kind of know right away.
They weren't my type.
Yeah, you're the drummer? I don't think so. Bass player?
Well, and my papa always said, never mix your money with your honey. So I was always like, nope. There was like always a fine line. Yeah, no.
And you really can't have both. You have to have, that's a great point. It would have to either be the man or the band, because when you're on the road, it doesn't work.
Yeah, and I knew I wasn't so stuck to singing, I think because I watched my mom be a mother and know how huge of a role that is in things. And she did the Lord's work all them years, like having 5 kids and like so spread out. And we were not just sit at home on tablet children either. We were like
everywhere,
busy, all of us. So
when you asked God, do I need a man or a band? Did he answer you?
Not right away. He made me kind of, I think, more so just learn to enjoy myself more. And that's what every Valentine's Day I was telling my husband this past year, I was like, I'd go get wings and a soda and me some roses. And Daddy'd be like, who got you some flowers? And I was like, me, myself, and I was like, ain't they pretty? And like, did not care. Right. And so I really had that, I don't care if I ever get a man type thing going. And then I would sing on the weekends. I worked a full-time job through the week and but I was enjoying life. And then, by then I was praying. I was like, God, if there is a man out there for me, like make him stop me in my tracks. And that truly, he did. He really
I've heard of girls that have prayed even, I was 31 I'm 24 now, but I was 31 when I got married. It's the new math.
I love it.
But I know of people that have even been so specific about it. Like when he comes, I want him to have on a purple shirt with a blue sleeve or something like that. Just, I don't want to miss who you have for me.
It's so easy.
I want it to be God ordained from the beginning, because I've waited this long. I want to make sure it's the right one. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It was exactly like that.
And so how did and so now we're married.
Yes.
Is there more to that? Did you?
Well, the first date, I didn't want to go because, again, I don't like dating. I did not like dating at all.
Can we just how are you going to ask the guy, can we just get married? Right. Are you okay with just getting married and having babies? Because I don't like to date.
Well, I didn't want to go meet him because he lived in Louisiana. And I was like, how is that going to work? Like, that's insane. That's just setting myself up. Yeah. But I went to have lunch with him. And
to Louisiana?
No. He was in Atlanta. His brother lived in Atlanta.
Okay.
And I went to meet him for lunch, and first off, he was in like a button down and nice jeans, and I'm like, well, I haven't seen that before yet, because usually they're t-shirt, jeans, and some boots. Nothing wrong with it, but I was underdressed, which is rare.
Yeah.
So I was like, he dressed up for me. Oh my goodness. And so I go in there, and he was just so kind, like the kindest soul I've ever met in my life. Like, and so after I get in my car and it won't crank.
Conveniently?
I left my lights on.
Oh.
and instead of asking him for help, and I knew he was going to be a gentleman and try to wait on me to leave the parking lot. So I act immediately like I'm on the phone, and I'm like, hey, yeah, and I'm waving at him like, you can go. It's all good. Thank you. But no, I'm good. And I have to go back in the restaurant and be like, does anybody have jumper cables and maybe a to-go sweet tea? Like, I am stressed. And so that's what I mean. Like, he stopped me in my tracks. So as soon as I got on the road and got home to Mom, because she's my best friend, and I literally went upstairs, but I tried to dodge her because I was like, I'm in tears. And so I lay on my bed, and the tears are like welling up, but they haven't fell yet. And I'm like, you just need to get it together. And Mom comes and she's like, how'd it go? And I was like, I like it. I don't know what I'm going to do. And then it ended up being the easiest thing ever.
Wow.
Like,
and
ever.
So here we are, what, 2.5 years? 3? How long have we been married?
We've been married since 2020. So 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
We met in 2018, got engaged 2019, got married to 2020.
So you're old timers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so now how are you serving the Lord now? Are you, hopefully you're doing praise and worship somewhere.
I've talked to the church that we're going to about it, but my babies keep me so busy. So the Lord's work right now is making these humans good people.
Right.
And
lovers of Jesus, and hopefully you can instill in them the same love.
And it takes a lot, and that was one thing I've had to learn in motherhood, because it's different than what life.
It's different than being on American Idol.
That I pictured for myself, Yeah, right. So there was no like putting spray tan on and having makeup, getting ready for 3 hours. But what I've learned is God truly meets moms wherever they are, whether it's like you're doing dishes or picking up toys for the 50th time before noon or whatever. Like, he's there. And I had to learn that in order to find peace and know that this is also worship. Yeah. And because he truly, the Bible says the men go to the mountain to pray and the women stay home and take care of the home and children. And truly I had to learn that, because my husband, one night in the trenches of newborn, he was like, I'm going to go read my Bible and then go to bed. And I'm sitting here with my hands full, bottles up to my neck. And I'm like, okay. And you have to learn to listen to God and not the devil, because the devil's saying, oh, it must be nice to go sit and read the Bible, but I had to quiet that and also think, I prayed for this man. I prayed for this man that's going to go read the Bible before he goes to bed. Thank God I have that. And
because right now I want to take a bottle and crack it on his head, and then maybe he can find another Bible verse to read, right? Yeah. No. So, wow, that's really huge, because our last guest, we were just talking about how the devil does try to oppress us, and that we do still hear those voices. It doesn't mean that we're demonic or that we need to be delivered, but we have to learn to do exactly what you just did, which is fight and to stand firm
every single day,
and to deny ourselves. Luke 9:23, deny ourselves, take up our cross and follow him. And so good for you, because that's why most marriages end.
It was hard. It was hard, but it got so much easier once I learned that. Like, you're not taught that in the pregnancy classes, You're not taught, you might, like, feel like your husband gets to live a normal life where you're like not. So
all the women in the room saying, yeah.
But then once you put it in your mind, like, okay, I have to fight this daily. Every day I'm going to make hell shake.
Right.
He's not going to shake me.
Oh, that's good.
So
that's another book title.
Once you do that.
Well, I just want to go ahead and warn you, because you've been pregnant a couple times here, but it's not just pregnancy, it's marriage.
Yeah, for sure.
It's being a mother, and mothers of littles and mothers of pre-toddlers, and then you get to be teenagers, and boy, there's a blessing. So that battle is, we're all in a battle where it's a constant battle, and we do have to learn how to fight it and fight it correctly. And so it looks like you're on the right path with that. And so I just want to let you know that it does continue, because, marriage and the church are the two institutions that Jesus Christ set up. And so they're the two that Satan goes after the most. He wants to divide the church, and he wants to ruin marriages. And so he loves to whisper little things like what you just heard. Won't you tell him to put his Bible down and get these diapers off?
Yeah.
Right.
And he was helpful. That's the thing. Like, my husband helps, help more than any man I've ever seen. But it was still the devil was after me. He knew I was fragile. And he'll know again. I'm sure, this next time we're bracing ourselves. We know it's coming because we're strong right now, and we'll be a little weaker after she comes. And then it'll be like, okay, we'll both of us have to be like, we're on the same team every single day.
Wow, that is so good. That premarital counseling book we just wrote, that's one of the things we talk about is, and I'm looking at this closet, which is offset, but is, wouldn't it be neat when an argument starts to come with you and your spouse, if a referee would jump out of the closet in the middle of the fight and go blow a whistle and say, time out, you go to your corner, you go to your corner, and we're going to talk this through.
Yes.
And that we would remember exactly what you said. I prayed for this man. Yeah. And he didn't say he's going to have a six-pack. He said he's going to read the Bible.
I know. And honestly, he works hard for both. He works out all the time. I swear, I tell him all the time, I'm like, every time I get pregnant, you get in the best shape of your life. What's up with that?
So funny. Well, you are such an inspiration on so many levels. Do you have any specific advice for moms? Because you did such a great job of walking through that, and on that social media post even, about the Lord speaking directly to you. What other advice do you have of how to stay on track with the Lord and how to remain in that relationship and how to love Jesus more than anybody else?
I think I would just tell them to be slow to act on emotion. The Bible says to do that anyway. But that, with being a mom or even just married, it comes with a lot of different emotions, and the devil can be loud. He doesn't sleep, but neither does our God. And so I would just say be slow to act on those emotions, like go sit in the bathroom for a second if you need, or, and don't be afraid to, for me, like asking my husband for help, I had too much pride at first. Yeah. And so find your support system and lean into that, and make sure you're surrounded by other godly women who have been there and done that, and just lean into them, lean into God. Let God talk to you, quiet your mind, like even in the chaos, because it's loud all the time at my house, but you can quiet your mind and he'll come to you.
That is great advice. Great advice. I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Ashley is right. And we're not all as beautiful as Ashley on the inside and the outside. But what we can take from her is that's true. I know a lot of husbands that if we would just ask them for exactly what we want, they would be happy to do it. We think they should know it, but they don't know it. And if you're learning that for the first time now, that's the way it works. Ashley's loved Jesus for a long time. It shows in her face. It shows in the way she sparkles. And we're just so grateful that she can share with. I would encourage you to look her up online. She's Ashley Smith, because she does posts of things that are very encouraging. And to think that Jesus Christ himself would speak through a lady at Subway, I just wonder what he might be trying to say to you today. Open up your spiritual eyes and open up your spiritual ears and listen to him tell you how very much he loves you.